All right, so we call to order the Alpine Advisory Board meeting, Wednesday, September the 15th, and it is 1:30 in the afternoon. So we need a secretary to determine if we have a quorum.
We have a quorum and the meeting was posted 3 p.m. September the 10th as required.
Item number 3 is to approve the minutes of the previous board meeting.
Did everybody receive the August 18th minutes? Had a chance to read them?
Here, but to be honest with you, this is the first chance I've had to read them. So.
Take your time.
Looks good to me. I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes.
I second the motion.
We have a motion to accept and a second. So all in favor? Item 4 is discuss and consider financials, and Abel will take us through that.
Yeah, I just handed out the August updated totals figures. Which July you should have had, I believe, last month. You should already have those.
So do we have any questions or any discussion about the August financials that Abel just handed out?
This is the first chance I've got to look at it, but just is oil cells, y'all are grouping the fuel cells with the oil, right?
Yes,
not
with the
segregated?
purchases, yes.
Okay.
I should check.
More questions unless y'all do.
Any other questions about the August financials? And 4B is concerning the budget for the coming year, and Gio's going to make us a copy
He's
of that.
bringing out the, yes, the updated. the new
4C concerns the ramp grant. And
Which I handed out. the,
we have a list of all the items that have been submitted to the state for reimbursement under the previous year's ramp grants. 4D refers to the ramp grant for the coming year. And as I understand it, in order for the city to be able to have work items that are eligible for the ramp grant for the coming year, there has to be a grant executed so that TxDOT has paperwork in place that will cover expenditures for the coming year. So the question to Abel is, has that grant been executed? Is
Yes.
that paperwork in place?
It's been accepted by the city, yes.
So TxDOT has
Yes.
that. We're good to go on that. Item 5 is to discuss and consider airport correspondence. Anything from you, Abel?
Not that not that I recall.
Any new or reassigned leases?
No, nothing yet.
So from seeing activity at hangar number
Oh, well, I take that
41.
back. Yes, but I mean, it's still Rick Stevens, but it actually changed to Aero Care instead of First Flight.
So First Flight had been doing air ambulance service?
Yes.
And they're not now?
They're done. Here, it's Aero Care. Officially.
Okay. So will AeroCare be keeping an airplane out there?
Yes.
A King Air, just like
It
it
it was the same thing. Yeah, I think it's a newer model. From what they explained to me, the First Flight didn't sell their fleet.
Oh, they didn't?
No,
I'll be darned.
that's what I was, because when the pilots were there, I was asking them, I said, oh, so you're just gonna change the name, you know, get a new paint job?
Yeah.
And he's all, no, we're actually getting our fleets, it's gonna be the same type
Yeah.
of plane. He's all, it's just the features are a little bit updated or different. He's all, but yeah, apparently they didn't want to sell their fleet, or they were.
Well, I
or
think
they
some
were
of
gonna
them are
sell
lease
it.
back airplanes, so I don't know.
Possible, yeah. Or you might get a better, maybe they didn't offer them the price they wanted.
So right now, what's in there?
The Aero
In
Care.
the hangar?
Aero Care.
I mean,
Yeah,
what
it's the
kind,
King.
it's a new King Air?
Yes.
I mean, not the
Or-
same as before.
Not the same as before.
Okay. I'm just glad we have a service
Yes.
in there.
Yeah, and in fact, they were ready to go as soon as First Flight. When First Flight was it 7:59 September 1st. You know, that's when
Yeah.
they flew out of here.
Yeah,
Officially, the other guys were on the clock at 8 o'clock. You know.
yeah,
No
Eight
lapse.
in the morning, yeah. So
Yeah.
but they were already, had their stuff, most of their stuff was already in there. I think they were still discarding some of the leftovers. I don't know if you saw it outside the hangar.
Yeah,
They were looking
trash
for a
it.
trailer. They were actually looking for a trailer to take it out to the dump. I don't know if they
Oh.
asked you about that.
No, I didn't. I think it's gone now.
Yeah,
Like somebody cleaned
yeah,
it up.
they had to finally get somebody to, because they were looking for a bigger trailer because they
Oh,
said,
yeah.
man,
trash trailer.
yeah,
Yeah,
because it was like beds. They had beds and box springs and just stuff. I don't know, from the hospital or something. I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, the on-demand ambulance service, usually you have to have a nap room for the pilots and
Okay.
stuff, so that's.
Yeah,
what
so
that was.
they had all that outside, and I don't know if they would have it for nap room, because I think one of the guys said it had bed bugs written on it.
Uh-oh. Nobody's
I
gonna
was
say
like,
on
well,
that.
I was like, why did somebody keep it?
Maybe while I was sitting outside,
dude.
Unless they wrote that so nobody would use it.
nobody else would use
I
it.
wouldn't.
Dude.
Good idea.
they talking about putting a trailer out there or something, crew quarters or something.
They wanted to put a trailer mobile, like somewhat of a mobile home, but they ended up putting it at the hospital.
Oh, okay,
And the hospital is gonna put like a little housing.
yeah, that's better,
Yeah, they wanted something so they could relax in, but
yeah.
they also need something offsite from the hospital also, and from the airport. So they have a house, a rental house somewhere that I didn't know about. But yeah, so they went ahead and moved that other rest area that they wanted by the hospital. They said they were gonna give them some space.
Yeah, that could get complicated, putting it at the airport.
Yeah, well, yeah, and what I saw was it could, I mean, if council approves it, I think what I read somewhere was if council approves it, they're allowed, but I mean, in that space they wanted where the taxiway would go later on, they wanted it on that side, which would,
Oh, on the west
Yeah,
side.
yeah, which would
Yeah,
block
fair
that,
with that taxi.
it would block that, it would have to be in the back.
Yeah.
And even then, if you put a hanger in the back, once you get a taxi,
Yeah, it's still-
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah, not only that, to set a precedent for somebody in the future
exactly,
wanting to put a,
their own, yes.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure the council would be specific, more like, well, this is more of a, you know, ambulance hospital. I'm
Yeah, I
sure they
think
would.
it's, text dot lays out pretty clear if it's first responders, emergency services, they can have bunk rooms or rest room, you can't have anybody living on the airport,
yeah,
but you can have an overnight kitchen, amenities, whatever, for first responders and stuff like that. It's just, they can't have a permanent residence. Nobody can live in the airport. That's the way I understand it.
Item number
Except
6.
George Voss.
Item number 6.
Unless your grandfather did.
Yeah.
There
right,
you
you're
go.
there before anybody else.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Margaret.
The TxDOT has a reference on their website to the capital improvement project concerning the AWAS. And the way that TxDOT shows that item, and it's a few years off, but still it shows it as replace / relocate. And Isabel noticed that in our conversations a few weeks back. So we looked on the website and yes, that verified that's what is shown. Then we looked at the letter of intent that was written in July of 2018. And the reference to a new AWAS specifically says relocate or replace AWAS. And based on recollections, the Alpine Advisory Board, when discussing that project, referred to replacing and relocating. So while that's just a one-word difference, or versus and, or slash, or and, there's a tremendous difference. So if the AWAS is going to be replaced, if that's the work that's going to be done, it needs to be moved. And in all discussions about the AWAS, it was always assumed that it would be moved to a different spot. Otherwise, it blocks development of the hangars. So we thought then to discuss that today. So it's on the agenda. And if it is decided that the advisory board needs to ask council to in turn contact TxDOT to be sure that that item is corrected, well then that would be started with the resolution from us to the council.
I agree.
So is there any clear documentation that says replacement and relocation that
No.
says?
No, apparently not.
Now, if there was some kind of a remote wind monitoring system that would allow encroachment of hangars to build up to the AWAS, I could see how we could make do with where it is for a while longer if we could encroach upon that barrier for the wind monitoring, if they can do a remote wind monitoring. But if we still need to maintain that radius around it, then I think it's critical that we move it.
Correct. Is there more discussion about the need to clarify that with the city? Perhaps we don't need to clarify it, or and in turn with TxDOT.
We've been thinking along the lines that they're gonna relocate it across the runway.
Correct.
Is that, I haven't heard anything firm on that, And also, are they gonna underbore the runway or cut a slot through there to
They
bury the cables? I was just thinking they could go ahead and install the AWAS without, and keep the old one in service till they got the new one up and mounted, and then all they gotta do is run the wiring and then switch it over. That'd be the way to do it, I would think.
Yeah, what I just gave you was a new letter of intent that was sent off September 6th. Which on the second paragraph, third sentence,
It says relocating and updating.
Relocation of the
AWAS. Yeah, that's pretty clear about relocating.
Mhm.
That's good.
Okay, so this letter that was sent a few weeks ago refers to relocating and updating.
It's not a,
not an official
If you
LOI.
look at the last, if you look at the last statement, it says, please consider this our letter of interest for updating of our action and layout plan. That's what this is for. In
Right.
the background, it just states relocating.
Yeah, and on that first paragraph, it has, we look, right before the second sentence to the end.
Yeah,
Forward
we
to
look
working
forward
on-
to working on relocating and
updating.
updating our AWAS. That's pretty
It's newer,
clear.
newer instruments or whatever.
Well,
they're
that,
using.
yes, that part's clear, but Abel, are you the person that talks to the airport planner in Austin?
One of them,
Michael Van Vliet?
Bentley, yes. I'm one of the persons that's.
Okay, so we were gonna do a little resolution here that was gonna ask the council to direct you folks to clarify that we're not advising that the thing simply be replaced, but it needs to be relocated.
Yes, my understanding was it's
Okay.
gonna be relocated.
Yeah, but
When you look at the amount, the dollar amount that normally goes into a new AWAS, it's usually 200,000. When you look at the dollar amount for us, it's 175. Is it less because they're just going to tie into the system? Or is it less because
That I haven't looked into.
so that's
Yeah.
what we're,
that's what
that's what
we're
we're,
asking? Make sure there's no assumption that it's going to stay in that place.
Okay. No.
I mean, just,
you have to actually talk to the planner
Yeah.
and say,
I
okay,
mean,
look,
we're assuming, everybody's assuming.
You want an
just
actual
make sure.
location
the
where it's
thing
gonna be
needs to be,
placed, where it's actually gonna be placed is what you wanna
yes,
know.
yeah, we would actually, I mean, we don't, the advisory board doesn't have to say anything, but the city, so you at the airport should want to know that TxDOT is actually going to, when they put in a new AWAS system, put it over between the runways. No, move it, relocate it.
Mhm.
If you look at what they're showing publicly on their website, it says update/relocate. Now, does that mean and? Because the original letter of intent from 2 years ago says or.
Yeah.
So we just, you have to follow things as it goes along. Otherwise, things get, we're thinking this, they're thinking that. They tell the engineer, well, we need a new AWAS out here. The engineer comes out, great, we've got plenty of clearance, we'll put it right here. Goes into the plans. Nobody ever asks anything of anybody else. Plans then go to TxDOT, they get approved. And then when the guy comes out to build it and we say, no, it should be across the runway over there. And they won't, then we're
Yeah,
stuck.
I think as that project gets closer, the clarification will become more clear on
Well,
that.
it would be very clear if we could actually be in on the design of plans and be able to offer some comment, but it's never happened yet. So we're suggesting that
I mean, you can always comment. It's
well,
just not what,
actually, no,
not-
if we don't
not
know
what we
what,
have to.
if we don't, we can't. So we're suggesting to you, we're advising you that you should clarify that the state is going to put the thing in a different place from where it is right now. So
Or get a more exact location. That's what you're
Just know that they're not going to just replace it. They are.
No. That's like I said, that my understanding is. It's gonna
But
be
there's
relocated.
nothing. Yeah.
all right, so we have a proposed resolution that is where we, the airport board, who advise the city, we're saying, could you please check to be sure that it's actually going to be relocated? Why have the guys come out, they put in a new AWAS that's good for another 20 years, and then we can't move it. And then we can't build more hangars going out that direction. So we're going to advise the city through this resolution that you verify that it's actually going to be moved. So shall we do the resolution? Is
Yes.
that a good idea?
Absolutely.
I think so. Could I read it just real
Yes.
briefly? Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, and like I said, that's.
I think this is good. Like I said, the only stipulation of maybe leaving it where it is if they do a remote wind monitoring where we can build into that area. I think that that's our chief concern is the development in that area. And if we can access that with leaving it there and they do a remote wind monitoring,
Yeah, but I don't know if that's, I mean, I don't know, we don't know what the temperatures would do, reflecting the heat off the hangers towards that thing, it might give inaccurate
Sure.
stuff. So
yeah,
they just need to move it,
just need to move it.
you know?
I agree. I mean, I'd go ahead and make a motion that we send this to city council.
I second the motion.
Okay.
So we have a motion.
I seconded.
Okay. And it has been seconded.
Hello?
Sorry.
We made a motion, seconded to. Go ahead.
To ask the city to verify with TxDOT that the construction of the AWAS, which is on their capital improvement projects for the future, be relocated as well as update the actual station itself.
I think if we have an email in response to this letter, if they clarify in that email, that would suffice to answer what our question is, I think, if they clarify it.
Who made the motion? Sorry, I missed it.
I made the motion. And James second.
Margaret, would you care to sign this?
Okay.
And then,
Does it not need to be edited? Is it good like it is? You don't need to make any changes to it?
that's how we voted. We voted on it as it was.
I thought we might put something in there about the wind monitoring, but he mentioned that even temperatures could be affected with the hangars being close by and reflecting off of it. So it's probably better we just move it.
Well, if that real estate right there where it sits, is so much more valuable to the city and to the airport as hangar space,
Sure.
right? Whereas that other area where it had been approved to be moved before, Johnny said it was approved to be moved by TxDOT.
I think Big Ben Telephone had actually worked with them to bore under the runway. They had all that set up.
Okay.
Didn't get it done.
So I give this, do we give this to Able to give to Geo? Do we give this to Geo?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take a picture of it so it can be in, I can have it in my records, I guess.
So item number 7 is to discuss the paving of taxiways to the existing hangars 43 through 46. So we were discussing this in July and intended to request that the city council approve extending the taxiway pavement to those 4 hangars. And then there was a question about something or other. And so the whole thing was tabled. And as far as I know, questions or whatever they were have been resolved. But yet we don't have the taxiways built yet and don't know of any plans to build them anytime soon. So we have a resolution that describes the conditions and the situation in place now, and we request that the city direct the city manager to see to it that the taxiways are constructed to those 4 hangars as soon as possible. So our board secretary has a copy of that resolution. And let's see, you've read it, right?
Yes,
It's in order.
the only edit would be to add, to change from just hangar 44, but
Oh,
change it
yes.
from 43 through 46.
Yes, okay.
Multiple hangars. And I think last time we were unclear from TxDOT if it was eligible for the grant reimbursement.
Oh, it is. They say it
And
is.
so at the time, we didn't know.
Right, that was
If it
some of the
was-
question in July.
Yeah.
But that's been cleared up, correct, Abel?
Yeah, yes. When I spoke to Michael, the planner.
Yes.
He was saying it was not. And I think when you had spoken to Amy,
Yes.
she had said it was.
Yeah.
So I got conflicting, so I finally I called Amy and I said, hey, she goes, the way it's set up, apparently she did say it was covered.
Yes.
She said it should, but there was still a funding issue with the city.
Well, what we're asking is that the city see to it that it gets built as soon as possible.
Which was in our improvement plan also to actually put money aside.
Well, that's a 5-year plan, right?
I didn't say it was a quick plan. Yeah, but it was a plan, yes.
Yeah. So we're suggesting to the city through this resolution that there's some compelling evidence and compelling reasons why the city should extend the taxiway much quicker than on a 5-year basis.
Yeah, I think.
See, every one of these hangar numbers.
They usually do the taxiway during the construction phase. Right after. What does anybody know or what the actual process is to get the taxiways done when there's a new hangar?
You mean,
So-
Like for
always-
Rick Stevens hangar.
are you
and
talking
for
about how
Dr.
the work is done?
No. Well, the process for getting it done.
Swing.
To my
Well,
knowledge, there's never
Do
been any.
they build it while the construction phase is going on for the hangar, right after the hangar, before the
It
hangar?
depends on how the city can schedule the work to be done. It's possible that a hangar could be built and maybe they can't get the contractor to do the work, or maybe the city's going to do the work, they can't quite schedule it. On the other hand, it could be a situation where hangar 39 was already built. Taxiway was already constructed when I built hangar 42. The pavement was already there. And so when I built the concrete ramp in front, I matched the asphalt out front. So it was, in that case, it was already done.
So there's no actual timetable for actually putting it in.
There should be.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
But
For
There's-
Rick Stevens hangar, what sort of time period do we?
The
have?
hangars were built and the taxiway was constructed.
Was
within months.
Within a month or two, I
Yes.
think,
Within a month or two?
No.
Yes,
of the hangar construction.
yes.
And Dr. Steve?
Same thing.
Same
It-
thing.
By the
So
time
is
the
it
hangar
this-
was finished, within a month or two, then Jarrett, the contractor, built the extension of the taxiway over to the front of that hangar.
So they've sort of set a precedent, an example to follow, I would think, for the city.
Correct. The taxiway is very important. If you pull an airplane out onto the
Oh, yeah.
ramp,
No, I'm not arguing that.
No.
I was just questioning the actual
Process.
process and what, if it had to be done by this, before the actual hangar was ready to, open up its doors to get a plane in there? Or after, right
Yeah,
after?
it'd be
That's,
nice
that was
if-
the whole, I was
It'd be
asking.
nice if when the hangar door is ready to open up, then the pavement is right there.
Mhm.
But as a practical matter, we understand it might take the city a few months to get things organized, but to say it's gonna be 5 years, while we set $10,000 aside each year. In
It's
order to-
already been 2.
Yeah, so we're already 2 years into the programming. I mean, for the fuel and the taxes he's paid, he's already covered what it would cost the city for 50% reimbursement for the cost of the taxiway. So the airport is an economic generator of benefits for the city of Alpine. Isabel, you weren't out there at the time, but Isabel presented a project 2-3 years ago now to show how many people were in the city of Alpine were employed out at the airport. And it's an incredible economic influence. It's like 55 people have jobs that are directly concerned with the airport. So another set of hangars comes in, 4 more hangars. That's taxable. Folks coming, they got high dollar airplanes. I mean, we may mention all that in the resolution here. And so when the city enters into a lease agreement, somebody's going to build a hangar, that's when the planning process should begin. It seems to me. So when folks go out to build a hangar, coordinating with the city and the building department as all of this moves along. And somebody then already has a plan for installing the taxiways as the hangar's being built, and it all comes together.
And that was
It's working.
never discussed when they,
Well, we discussed it a few times,
Yeah,
but we
as soon as
understood
it's gonna happen.
before it was done, before the work was done.
during the pre-construction discussions, we discussed that for what,
Yes.
2 years before we actually began discussion or construction. And at the time, we were doing all the ramp repaving, and that was a very big project and was very capital intense. And so we
Oh, yes, yes,
understood
yes,
that any extra money needed to go to funding
yes.
that project. But since then, after that project was over and the year after, we expected the pavement to be done the next years because we didn't have that looming project right then that we needed to get done that was drawing all the funds away from it. And so
Yeah,
we
so-
understood that it would be a longer delay than normal, but it's been
It's
a year
time.
longer than what we expected, really.
Right.
Yeah,
And the city, we're not mad at the city, it's just a circumstance of things. But the building, the code guy had gone through 2 or 3 of those folks, gone through 2, you might say 3 city managers. But that brings us up, so there's been some little loss of communication there, you might say.
and that didn't help.
It didn't help, that's right, but so we are where we are, but it's something that needs to be addressed. I mean, it needs to be taken care of. So that's the reason for the resolution is we're trying to reinforce the fact that it needs to be taken care of.
So the city is already previously committed to doing the work this physical year, which is about to expire. Now, there's been personnel changes, but the city as an entity itself has committed to doing it. It has not followed through on it.
I actually met with Mr. Zimmer.
Mhm.
It was about almost a year ago. It was right after, that would have been last winter, actually. Have to look back to see exactly when, but he called me, asked me to meet him out there. We stood there, looked at the work, talked about it. And he said, yes, we're going to do this. And I reported that back to you.
Yes, and at the time, Mr. Zimmer was representing the city, not Mr. Zimmer himself. He is a representative of that entity. And now, even though he's not there, that entity is still committed to it.
Yeah, and that issue had come up during this, the last council meeting where he had made or several deals were made with the previous city manager
Sure.
on handshakes and, oh yeah, we'll take care of that.
Well, it's not a-
Which one of the things that Rod brought up, somebody had questioned something, he's all, do you have anything on paper that says he was gonna? I think it was something with a drainage issue, and he asked the gentleman, he said, do you have anything on paper? Do you have anything in writing? In writing, there you go, not paper, but in writing that says it's gonna be taken care of. He said, no, I had a witness from the city, he's all,
Well, in this case,
Well, it's
there's
in
a
the
contract.
It's in the minutes from city council in April. So it's in writing that it's committed by the city. So there is a commitment from the city that it was to be done in that particular time period. So,
And there is a precedent. That's Rod Parkman did bring that up,
Mhm.
that there was a precedent here. Rod asked about Rick Stevens' hangars. In the meeting where Kate made a presentation to
oh,
council,
that was July.
an information sort of presentation, it was in
no,
and Rod said.
yeah, I
"Okay,
think
there's a
that's,
precedent."
I think when Kate spoke the last time, it was just information,
Information.
yeah.
All right,
They weren't
so,
allowed to do anything.
obviously, there's an edit of the hangar numbers. Is there anything additional to what this?
I can clarify the numbers for you just to be sure, or you can also.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 43 through 46.
So does the resolution cover what we discussed? Does anything need to be added to it? Is this good? And do
I
we
mean,
want?
it's your resolution, you can change it up however. All I'm gonna do is just pass it along.
Yeah, well, the question is to the board here. Is this the way we want it sent forward?
That was the only edit that I had, was
Okay.
the hanger numbers.
All right, so
Sounds good to me.
do we have a motion to adopt this resolution and send it to the city?
I make a motion, we adopt the resolution, send it to the city.
I'll second that.
Can you second it?
I don't know. I'll abstain.
So I
I'm
can
gonna abstain from
second it.
voting.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, we have us two in favor and
We have a majority.
Yes. All right,
Didn't take long.
2-4.
so as a further discussion of procedure about resolutions is I discussed with Gio earlier before the meeting how the system works, and he said that take a look at the header on the agenda for the advisory board meeting. The last paragraph says this notice is posted pursuant to, the last sentence says action items approved at this meeting will go to the city council for consideration. And when I asked Gio about that, he said that that he considers that is a mandatory statement. It's not optional. And so in his opinion, then, when we send resolution over to city secretary, it's where our minutes and so forth, which will make reference to the resolutions. When he receives that, then he will see to it that the resolution will appear before the council.
Good.
Yes, that's the way it should be working.
Yes.
Item 8 is updates. So what do we know about the helicopter landing pad?
In fact, just before lunch, I received the draft lease proposal from CBP. We're actually waiting for them to send us their lease, how they want it, because theirs is different from, since it's government, they do their own leasing
So this
agreement. They sent the draft, yeah, and it was like right before lunch. That's what we had been waiting on the whole time.
Item B is the joint, and there is a typo there. Joint Airport Zoning Board. Anything about that?
Nothing yet. In the last meeting we had, I think they were gonna establish or mention establishing committees to determine the process for city boards and commissions.
Is there a time period?
No.
Item 3 is repairs to the taxiway in front of the DPS hangar.
I don't have anything more to report on that one.
Airport capital improvement projects that are works in progress. Rehab of the runway. That's the statewide paving program that TxDOT is.
Yeah, I think I sent an update to the latest update, maybe a couple days ago. 2 days, 2 or 3 days.
So you don't.
So we're
have an actual-
scheduling pre-construction meeting dates.
All
They were
right.
meeting, yeah. That's
So
all
you don't actually have they haven't issued a construction date yet.
Nope.
So that's going to close runway 01. And then what do they do about the intersection between the two? So there is a significant issue about planning ahead of time.
I think the plans that you looked at the last time had it set how they were gonna, the way it was gonna be, the phases
Like a
were gonna go
sequence, yeah, phase?
and set up, yes.
Okay,
It's still there. I mean, you can go look at it again if you wish.
okay.
Yeah, you just need to keep their residents and DPS informed about when the runway might be closed.
Yes, yes.
All right, so for future projects, then the lighting replacement project. Any news on that?
No, that one's still, they're still funding, waiting for funding. And the AWAS may even be pushed to 2025, I think is what I had seen on that. There we go.
Hope it lasts that long.
Pending will either be fiscal year 24 or fiscal year 25. And the lighting.
Is it because of the city funding or is it because of the
No,
state
it's the
funding?
state. Because we're actually putting some aside each year. I guess the capital improvement plan that I sent you, the sheets,
Right.
I think it was broken down pretty good. Maybe did a good job on that.
So
And,
TxDOT has not requested the funding yet.
That I couldn't tell you. It just says pending. It'll either be fiscal year 24 or 25.
I think the way the system works is that TxDOT gets the plans ready and then they request funding.
Well, the construction, yeah, okay, they're still waiting on the funding for the construction for the lighting.
For
It
the
does say
design.
pending and then say we'll need to wait
Design's
for
done.
Not design, construction.
construction for that one. Fiscal year 22 federal funds are available, but they need to wait until they're waiting until they're available for the lighting.
So item number F has to do with the airport layout plan. And we did receive from you prior to the meeting, the letter of intent that was sent several weeks ago from the city specifying that they would like to see a master plan and the updated airport layout.
Oh, yes. Yes.
In the original, in the letter of intent that was sent in July of 2018, we did ask,
Also,
so this is actually the second letter.
So the city could go back to TxDOT planner and say, here's our letter. We sent it to you in September, but look at the letter of intent that you have in your file dated July of 2018. And you see that we've already asked for that work to be funded. So you might be able to lean on them a little bit so that they understand it's an urgent item and they can perhaps move it up for us. Otherwise, if they assume that the letter from 2 weeks ago is the original letter, who knows what their process is over there, then we're gonna be 5 years out
Mhm.
instead of only being 2 years out. So does this, as the city airport manager, then do you actually talk to the tech stop folks?
I'm the actual supervisor. Megan would be the, or the city manager is the actual airport manager.
Okay, she's the one that talks to Mr. Van Vliet?
And I do also. I just talked to him this morning also for a different matter.
All right. So since we are designated as the Alpine Advisory Board with the mission of looking after the airport, then we would like to know when you talk to these folks and what you're talking about. We would like to know, because then that helps us to be able to track things so that we in turn can be familiar with what's happening at the airport. I mean, and if the assumption is, well, we don't need to know, then you don't need this board.
Yeah, we can't advise without information.
So, and I wouldn't mind, I would not object if you have email correspondence with the state or city folks about the airport. You just put me as a little CC guy. So we can kind of see what's going on.
Well, then you wouldn't need me.
No,
It would just be the
That's
board.
not true. That's not
It would
true.
just be the board. Just
Because
have somebody report to the board.
It's
and
not
then
our
the board.
responsibility to actually do the work. We just watch. All we do is watch.
It's a requirement for the federal funding that there's a board that oversees the monies that come in and the processes. And
There's 37 grant assurances. So for the feds through the state, they send money over to Alpine to do work. There's 37 grant assurances that have to be accomplished, have to be met in order for the money to be okay to come over. And that list of items includes an advisory board, a joint airport zoning board, and then a whole list of those things there. And they're all pretty much met, but then there is, the reason for that is so that there is some observation of what's going on. So we'd like to see that happen. Any other comments?
Well, the airport zoning board, we've pretty well met our commitment as far as the city part of it. We're looking for the commissioners, county commissioners, supposed to put 2 board members in. I don't know what's going on with that. We never hear anything.
But the airport is listed as a municipal airport, so the city is ultimately responsible. The zoning board suggests that other than city folks, like the county, they should be contributing members to the zoning board. So it's the city's responsibility to establish that board, because the money is coming to the city, it's not coming to the county. So the city needs to get the county commissioners to say, all right, and they ought to be asking the county for money too. Why not? Why not get the county to help fund things that are happening at the airport?
Maybe they'd get some commissioners on board if they were funding. Oversee what's going on, you know?
Right. But that's, so the city needs to see to it that the county sends a couple of other folks over so that zoning board can actually be in place.
And it's required.
Mhm.
I don't know what that means, but
I was going to take citizen comments from my wife, but I see that she is no longer, she's no longer with us. She was on there for a while. She always has comments.
One comment, I'd spoken to Abel about it here a few months ago, and I had another gentleman tell me about it. The 100 low lead pump is progressively slowing down. Riley mentioned he thought maybe the pump was going out. So just as an advisory board, we might put that on the radar if that's gonna be something. that we're
Yeah,
gonna
but
spend
we
money on.
can't do anything till the next budget,
So
money comes in.
if that
Yeah, 'cause
pump
it
goes
was-
out, what
It was
do we-
pumping like 9 to 10 gallons a minute.
Mhm.
That's what we're at right now.
I
Because
forget, like,
DPS had mentioned it to us and then we took a look, you know. and it was,
I remember, oh shoot, it's been 2 or 3 months ago when I was sitting out there, you and I were talking and I mentioned, man, this thing's getting slow, and I guess it's progressively slowed down since then. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that, so. if
Yeah,
that-
yeah, we already have that on there, but
Okay.
like I said, right now our spending is pretty much,
Maxed out
you
for the
know,
year.
yeah.
That's a ramp grant eligible item, I bet.
Mm. For next year.
Yeah, the way I understand, it, the city spends the money, but then you're reimbursed at the end of the year. 50 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
So they're giving it to you half price. If the pump has to be changed in the 100 low lead, does the city do that?
No, it's
so a company A
Uh,
company comes to change the pump.
Yes, well, they come check it to make sure everything's, if they need to change something or something.
No one that
They need to
Jet A
replace it. Yeah, it
Use
happened,
your-
it happened with the Jet A.
use your
apparently.
crane to pull the pump out of there. It's a pretty involved process. That's no longer at the airport anymore, right?
No, it's not. It's
So
gone.
you bringing in a winch truck or something to be able to
Is the pump?
pull that out.
Well, it's in there. I think it's where it goes into the actual pump starts. We checked the filter. but we changed it. We thought maybe something was wrong.
What was the item we were going to add to the next agenda? There was something we were talking about earlier.
Before I got here, I don't recall.
You're the only one here young enough to remember what happens. So we depend on you to remember what we're supposed to
I
do.
can't remember if I'm not here.
Oh, this was after you were here.
Oh, was it? Oh, man, I must be aging because I can't remember.
Margaret, on the resolution for the taxiway, will you make the corrections
I can do that and then resend it.
and then send it and sign it, scan it,
Okay,
and then either send it to me and then I'll forward it to Geo,
yes.
copy to you?
Either one, or you can bring it to
You
me.
just put it with the minutes. Well, no, he said he's gonna do the minutes, right? Is that in effect now, or are you gonna do the minutes for this meeting?
I believe I'm doing the minutes to this meeting.
Okay, so when you send all that to him, well, then just put the resolution through.
Okay,
So I need to remember to edit. Anything else? Oh, we need to schedule another meeting?
Yeah, schedule next meeting.
Are we sticking with the third Wednesday? Is that what we decided?
Yes, so what
Yeah,
day
they
is
wanted
that?
us to get back on.
The 20th of October, is that right?
Yeah.
Is that okay with everybody?
Same time?
Works for me. Here again, I said.
Yes.
So we need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
All right.